Hello, I'm Joseph Junta, the music director and conductor of the Des Moines Symphony and Academy, and I'm very excited about conducting this next program on our Masterworks series. We're going to be playing 4 pieces for you, all by wonderful German composers. The piece we're going to play for you is the Flying Dutchman Overture. Up until Wagner started to compose, the overture was sort of just a piece that people would come and sort of talk through and settle into before the opera began. Well, Wagner felt that overture should be far more important to that. So he forwarded this idea that an overture should represent great anticipation of the dramatic element of the opera. So certainly the Flying Dutchman is one of those pieces. It starts out with a wonderful chromatic scale that symbolizes the violent ocean, and it just goes on from there. It's a great, great piece to open a program, and I know our audience will enjoy it. The Brahms Violin Concerto is one of the most lyric and beautiful concertos of all time. Brahms, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, and Mendelssohn all wrote one violin concerto, and this, in my opinion, is right up there with the rest of them. You know, Brahms was an interesting composer in that he had to follow this rich legacy of Bach and Beethoven and Mozart and Haydn. He was absorbed by this challenge. He really had very high standards for himself, and he wanted to be certain that when he did write something that was significant and could follow in respect of that rich tradition. So he was terribly afraid to write music because he had such high standards for himself. This violin concerto is certainly one of the great violin concertos of all time. It was written in consultation with the wonderful virtuoso violinist at the time, Joseph Joachim. There's this wonderful set of letters that go back and forth between Brahms and Joachim. And Brahms was a pianist and he didn't know a lot about the instrument. So he learned a lot from Joachim, and much of what you hear in the violin concerto today is certainly something that Joachim can take great credit for. The first movement is full of turbulent emotion, but also this dreamlike expression that only really Brahms can create. There's a certain elegance to the movement that just makes people smile. It reminds me of taking a beautiful walk in the woods on a spring day. The second movement, an adagio, is very famous for the oboe melody that happens in the beginning, and then the violin takes that over. There's a solemn, peaceful, and magical quality to this movement. And then finally, the finale is a gypsy dance. It's the kind of music that was written by the guy that goes down to the pub and has some conversation with his friends and smokes Turkish cigars and plays with tin soldiers on a table. That side of Brahms that we don't think about so often. This piece will be performed by the renowned and brilliant soloist Vadim Gluzman. Vadim was here with the Des Moines Symphony in 1999 at the start of his career, and he's gone on to become world-renowned, playing with virtually every major orchestra throughout the world, and I'm excited about working with him. The Hofner family and the Mozarts were families that grew up in Salzburg. The Mozart family was sort of showbiz family. They were an entertainment family, and Leopold, the father of Wolfgang, was excited about having his young son and daughter do all sorts of musical events throughout Salzburg. The Hofners were, of course, the aristocrats. They made a lot of money, and as a result of that, this commission came from the Hofner family. Mozart left Salzburg, and he went to Vienna, and that's really where the final form of this symphony took place. The first movement has these wonderful leaping octaves and all these dashing rhythms. It's very exuberant and exciting. Second and third movements, the Andante and Minuet, are sort of courtly and more stately, elegant movements. The last movement, Mozart said, it has to go as fast as possible. It's a virtuoso movement. It's exciting. Only takes about 20 minutes to perform this work, but it's 20 minutes of some of the greatest Mozart you'll ever hear. This piece that we're going to play for you is called Till Eulenspiegel's Merry Pranks. Till was a 14th century figure, and he was known as a jokester and a prankster. Strauss read about Till and decided that he would write a piece on it. He first is in the market with a bunch of women that he causes quite a ruckus. At one point he's disguised as a priest. You find him in another area flirting with some pretty girls. He eventually comes to a soapbox and preaches some philosophy, and his behavior becomes more and more outrageous and aggressive, and finally he's caught by the police and he has to go to court, and there's this wonderful side drum roll. The jury finds him guilty and he's hanged. And all this is depicted beautifully in this music and Strauss has a vivid imagination when it comes to orchestration and color. This is one of the most interesting and exciting pieces of music ever written. And I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you on October 29th at 7:30 and October 30th at 2:30 in the Civic Center of Greater Des Moines for our German Rhapsody. It'll be a great concert. I hope to see you there.